Hello learners, in today's class we'll talk about climate finance because in recently held COP29 this has been a very major issue, and also in current scenario there's a lot of hangama going on basically because of the climate change and also the sea level rising and also heat waves and all such scenarios which are in and around revolving around climate change. So to mitigate or to adapt or to address this kind of issue, firstly we need to have money, because there's an always conflict between your environment versus development. So when such kind of things, always remember, when there are two contradictories or two edges of a spectrum, there's always been a debate. So far we've seen throughout our history. So to mitigate this environment issues or problems, or to ongo any development which is like supporting the environment goals, we need money or we need funds to get that done. So in today's discussions, we will see about the climate finance, and also we'll try to see the relevance of this particular topic in our different GS subjects. And definitely, I'm sure when you relate, when you are asked to relate about climate, you'll directly go and put it in your environment related section of your mains. But I will show you this particular topic, how it can be addressed in all the 4 papers. Firstly, definitely the core GS3, which is your environment and economy. It can be related in your environment as well as your economy. So when you wanted to mitigate and adapt, one can ask the question like, discuss financial mechanisms supporting your renewable energy, carbon sequestration, green technologies, etc. This can be anything. So to mitigate or to adapt or to give a solution, you need the finance mechanism. Economy. Next, questions can arise on India's commitments under Paris Agreement, the Green Climate Fund, or initiatives like India's Green Bonds. So what are the commitment goals? How are you going to address this? When you're trying to formulate policies which are aligning to your climate change, do you have enough money to support that policy to be implemented? So such kind of questions arises. In your economic aspect, one can ask you to link your climate finance to sustainable development equity and India's energy transition strategies. One have to change the strategies, or one have to if one have to change the strategies and divert ways, you need fund for at least to constitute a body of experts, at least that experts to discuss. Even for your R&D has to be done properly, you need funds. So directly in your core syllabus, environment economy, one can ask questions related to your climate finance. Now the trick is, how can this be asked in your GS3? See, global agreements. Explore India's role in COP discussions and the funding commitments of developed nations. Or else, they can also ask how 2 countries are getting aligned or bilateral treaties are signed revolving around your climate finance as a topic. And also emphasize the north and south divide in climate finance allocation relevant to debates on global governance. See, generally in the world, the southern blocks are considered as your least developed or developing nations, and the north blocks are considered as your already developed nations or the very fast-track nations. So when this kind of finance allocation kind of such things are coming in the picture, there are a lot of enthusiasm shown under the southern bloc but not on the northern bloc, because they are morely inclined to your development and the southern bloc is morely inclined of the sustainable development. So this kind of divide is there in the coming to your ideology, perspectives, or anything taking to this. So how do you try to address this finance allocation and the debates? So this can be asked in your IR topic as well. Now coming to your geography, the core and your GS1, they can ask you to focus the necessity of finance to mitigate your rising sea levels, desertification, changing weather patterns, particularly in India's vulnerable regions. When you study geography and you study the desertification and such kind of topics, I'm sure you'll study the definitions. But they're asking you to focus the necessity of finance. So in your answer, when you're defining a particular topic, you're asked to give in the solutions for how you need finance or funds to address this particular problem. So they can ask you even in this way. How can someone ask you in GS4? Look at the question. Address justice, responsibility and accountability in climate finance distribution and implementation. So when money is involved, topics or concepts like your justice, your responsibility and accountability should be addressed, because when someone is profit driven, when a country is very developed oriented, then what happens to your accountability or responsibility for the climate? So such kind of questions can be addressed even in your ethics papers. So this is a multi-dimensional concept. Not only this, any topic from current affairs or from any magazine, try to address that question in a multi-dimensional way. Now we'll move forward and see the topic. Okay. Before going to that, how current affairs is there in the climate finance related topic. So during your G20 presidency in 2023, India pushed for your climate finance reforms. So India is very pro-aligned to climate finance. Not only that, and also for sustainable development. So whenever a topic comes regarding your climate change or a debate or a proposal to put forward, India is showing the lead step. Now, launch of green hydrogen mission. This was there in the current affairs, and global efforts for renewable energy. Recently in Adani video also, I have told how renewable energy can be revised as a topic because of that particular news. So it's been mentioned all over the year. The creation of loss and damage fund under your COP27. You need to have a dedicated note for this, because it is all about very important. And annually or biannually, your reports like UNEP emission gap report, World Bank climate finance overview, or also certain NGOs, they'll be keeping on releasing the reports or the data. So whenever that kind of data comes, you need to have a dedicated answer for this particular concept. So now we'll get into the topic. We'll try to define exactly what is climate finance. See, when you try to break the word climate finance, definitely this part is saying something is related to money, and definitely this part can be aligned that this money is used to address or at least to mitigate something related to climate. So whenever you do not know a particular definition, try to break the words. This will really help you. So climate finance is not just for an individual or not for the leader of the state. It is at even the local level, at the national level, and at the transnational level. Why is at local level? Whenever some kind of park has to be developed, even the society members can come, pool the money and try to address that particular problem. When we seen the floods and all such kind of disasters going on, the local community come forward, try to pool money, whatever they have, and try to help. That is also one kind of climate financing. So even at the local, at the national and at the transnational level, when the efforts are made to pool money to address the climate related destructions. And when who are the stakeholders? Your public, private and alternative sources, like it can be particular citizen or a philanthropist or a businessman, anyone. Alternative sources that can come from anywhere. What is the aim? It is to support, it is to mitigate, and it is to adapt the activities which are related to climate change. And also basically to address Paris Agreement or to fulfill the aim of the Paris Agreement. So this is a comprehensive definition. Here we've seen at what level the money is being pooled and who are the stakeholders and what is the aim. And what is the base thing we are considering to be fulfilled. Now, what is the importance and why do you need actually to pool money to address? Firstly, you need to mitigate the climate change. The damage is done already. Now you need to mitigate it. Like how? By supporting your renewable energy projects in future. By doing afforestation activities and also carbon reduction technologies. R&D is very important over here to implement such kind of technologies and bringing into reality. So this kind of mitigation policies or mitigation, efforts has to come or fulfill, you need money. And also to adapt, where your vulnerable communities are being aware or are being educated to to face flood-like situations or to adapt drought-resistant crops. So you need to train your citizens to adapt to ongoing climate change. First, you need to make them to analyze or understand that this is the reality, and you need to adapt the habits in such a way so that you can address the climate change problem. For that, you need definitely money. To run a camp, an awareness camp, you need a lot of money. And also for technology transfer, obviously, which will enable your green technology sharing between developed and developing countries. First of all, the technology has to be researched and developed and then shared. Just imagine the amount of money required for this kind of activities. And equity. Yeah, once you have done the technology, once you have brought in the technology related to climate change, now you need to distribute. The developed nations can easily access, but what about the developing nations or the least developed nations? They are still struggling for basic necessities. So, food, shelter is not being addressed. What are they talking about? The environment and climate. So when you are developing, you need to equitably distribute that kind of technology. For that, you need money. Next, so this money can be pooled in different multiple ways. One is your multilateral sources. You can establish one kind of a fund or a facility like your green climate fund, or else your global environment facility, or even your climate investment funds. These kind of mechanisms can be brought in the picture. And also bilateral sources between developed and your developing nations. They can come into bilateral agreements and can aid, financial aid, from your developed to your developing countries. Also, private sector's involvement is very important. They have to take care that they are not just oriented very profitly, but also sustainably. Their business plans or the business modules should take care of the climate change, ongoing climate change, because even they will be responsible. And some kind of innovative financial mechanisms has to be introduced, like your green bonds or your carbon credits, or also your blended finance. This is nothing but when you're private, when you're public, and when philanthropists come in the picture and try to strategize to develop your social or environment related activities. So this kind of innovative mechanisms should be brought in the picture to pool the money to address the climate change. Next, what are the global initiatives done? Is it just on the paper, or is it really something kind of an efforts are done? Means, yes, in 2015, there was been an agreement made that we will mobilize $100 billion to address this ambition by 2020. This ambition is nothing but we wanted to get back to 2 degrees Celsius below the pre-industrial levels. This money is unmet, unaddressed, and highly debated. In your almost in all the COP conferences, it's been told, and especially in your COP 26, it has been told that private sector participation is very important. And also at your 27 COP, it is said that we need to focus on loss and damage fund. And recently held COP 29, it has said that equitable climate finance distribution should be made. And especially COP 29 main agenda was to be spoken about your climate finance. Then Green Climate Fund was been made so that you'll address the climate related projects. It's the largest fund for this kind of projects. What is India doing? Is India actively participating, or is India putting efforts? Means yes, we have a dedicated National Adaptation Fund on climate change so that we can meet our net zero emissions by 2070. And also, if you remember net zero emissions, we are trying to develop EV vehicles so fast and forwardly. Policy frameworks, we have like a PAT scheme which says that we need to perform, we need to achieve, and we need to trade such kind of energy efficient projects or related schemes. Then we have renewable energy investments where we made it flexible so that FDI policies are made so flexible that FDI inflow will come in this kind of investments. What are the main challenges? It's because financial support from developed nations is very important for us. We are also, we are the superpower. We are considered the superpower of South Asia and all. But still, we, given the challenges like our population and the diversity, the size of the country, we need financial aid from the developed nations. And also there is a very limited private sector participation in this. All our generally our businessmen are so profit oriented that the corporate social responsibility is gone. There is no mentioning. Fortunately, we have someone like Tatas and all. Such kind of people should come forward and participate more, not just being profit ridden. So what are the current reports? So your UNEP emission gap report says that there is inefficient or insufficient global climate finance efforts. India's green bonds, it has raised $1 billion in 2023 for especially your renewable energy projects. And also at G20 presidency, India pushed very, very hard for your climate finance, and the reforms, the necessitated reforms has to be brought in picture. So India is actively participating in this particular topic. So in general, what is the challenge? That we have seen India specific challenge. In general, what is the challenge? Inequitable distribution. Developing nations receive inadequate funding compared to their needs. They are already struggling with development. They are struggling for the food and shelter and clothing. So where will they address such kind of big problems? So developed nations should come in the picture and give your equitable distribution. Accountability issue. Lack of transparency in fund allocation. When 50 rupees is been allocated for your not only climate finance but any scheme, 50 rupees allocated, 40 rupees will be gone in the pockets of the leaders or the politicians who are involved. The 10 rupees, 5 rupees would be gone to the wealthy people, and the other 5 rupees just scatteredly should be addressed to the 100% of the people. So that such kind of accountability and transparency issue is there. Unmet commitments, we are simply making on the paper, but what about the implementations? Paris Agreement, we told will reach a particular $1 billion, still it is unmet. $100 billion we said annually, but nothing has happened. So what can be done? What is the way forward? You need to have a global cooperation between the countries as well as your public and private partnership so that you can mobilize or pool money to address the problem. You need to have a financial institutional reform where you can betterly access money for your developing countries. You can provide money to the developing countries wherein they can focus more on the environment as well as their development. Innovative mechanisms, as I said, your blended finance and all such things has to be brought. Green bonds and carbon markets, carbon trade, credit, such kind of concepts has to be made very popular among the people. We need to focus on the equity. We need to prioritize vulnerable nations and communities as well. So this is the way forward to address the problem related to your climate finance. This is a top question given regarding the climate finance itself. Try to answer this. And coming to the end of the video, we have holistically understood what is exactly climate finance, who are the stakeholders involved, and what are the challenges, and what is the way forward, and what are the global efforts, and we've seen what is India-specific efforts. In this way, you need to link any current affairs or any topic given in the newspaper to your static syllabus. And as I've given in the starting, the questions, pick up any subject which you are comfortable and try to answer. Try to answer in mains answer writing for your 150 words and see to it that where you're standing or how well you understood the topic. Thank you.